listening to ASOTU CON Sessions by Effectv, live from ASOTU CON 2023.
We're out here at ASOTU CON Sessions, sponsored by Effectv, and we had a chance to catch up with John Foley, who is the president, founder of Recharge. So, John, thanks for coming out. This is great.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm pumped about being here.
Yeah, like obviously you guys had some great topics this morning as far as like used EVs, futures of that, and even like the education around that. Obviously, there's a large push for that, like nationwide for dealerships. So, like for you, we talked about what is really the future of what you guys are trying to accomplish. So, in fact, let's start with this. What does Recharge do?
Sure.
How do you guys bring value to dealerships?
Yeah. Well, today, Recharged is a experience center in Richmond, Virginia, and we are buying and selling used EVs. We're improving the experience that buyers might find today in trying to find and purchase an EV. We've added education, as you mentioned, around charging and range. Really try to help buyers understand and navigate that entire process. So we're having a lot of fun doing that.
Sure.
We're doing well. It's we're having great conversations with people, and we're learning so much every day. We're also getting a lot of confirmation that what we're doing is something that's missing from the market today, and that's really exciting. It's exciting when I get a call from somebody who isn't even in the market to buy a car, and they just want to call and cheer us on and say, man,
sure.
I bought an EV 6 months ago and it was a terrible experience. But I really hope that you guys make it, because this is what's needed.
For sure.
Now I see a greater opportunity to help, a much broader market in a way that's maybe a little different than we're doing anywhere else today. And that is, I'd love to aggregate all of the used EV inventory that's available, put it on the Recharge platform, recharge.com platform, and make it available to buyers. So, a dealer marketplace where, if I am not comfortable selling EVs today on my own, but I don't necessarily have like a great way to get rid of the car that I have, retail it through Recharged.
Sure.
And find a buyer for it that way. So
yeah. But what I love about what you guys are doing, John, is the fact that you're educating automotive retailers and you're really bringing them up to speed with where they should have been, especially with the vehicles they're trying to sell. So it's very stereotypical that the EV buyer knows more about the vehicle they're buying than the people selling it, especially when you see stats where they maybe only have 1, 2, or 3 EVs in stock, especially on the used side.
Yeah. So, a couple of things. I say we're educating the retailers. We're really educating buyers today.
Sure. Yeah.
And you're right. So, any used car operation will tell you that the buyer who comes in and looks at their vehicle knows far more about it than they do.
Yes.
They've spent hours researching this one car. I have hundreds of cars for sale.
Yeah.
But I think the delta between that and the used EV buyer is too great. So
sure.
we don't know every single thing about every one of our cars. We try to. We do lunch and learns as a team. Like, we really want to get better and understand everything. Everything's an opportunity to coach and teach each other up. But yeah, we still recognize that the person who comes in and ultimately buys the car probably, not every time, as we found, but probably knows more about it than we do.
Sure. And also, how do you guys produce, the content, the training, things like that you can really bring forward to the market so that people know more about EVs educationally?
So I'd say it's kind of deploying in phases right now, and what you see on our webpage are 72 roughly pages of educational content.
Sure.
That our team wrote on their own. We are now beginning to move into a bit more of the video and digital content creation, and want to kind of bring that education to life. And there really is a lot of opportunity in that space today. There's great new car content out there, but I think in the used car space there's a tremendous opportunity. So
sure, and there's a huge need for that, just because a lot of times people don't know about these, and they don't know what they don't know until they realize what they can learn, especially when they're in a space where they can learn and grow with that. So what would you say holds for the future for you guys? What do you see you guys accomplish in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think we'll continue to prove out the model that we've built today. That could mean market expansion, could mean, additional experience centers, and maybe, leaving Virginia even. But at the same time, building out that dealer marketplace is
Sure.
critical to this. And so that's where you'll see a lot of our focus here, over the next 12 months especially. So
Yeah, sure. And what has been your focus so far? So I should ask this. When was Recharge founded?
yeah. Well, that's an interesting story.
Sure.
And, so last year, I had, after 23 years in automotive retail, I had a break and was considering, what was next. And I had a short list of ideas that I really wanted to go and explore. And none of them were back into automotive retail where I'd spent the last 23 years.
Sure.
And I'm sitting at ASOTU Con and, I'm watching one of the presentations and we're talking about the volume of used car inventory that's coming to market, over the next couple of years.
Sure.
And in my mind, I'm like, man, it was an aha moment for sure. I mean, there is nobody who is specialized in used EVs today. And, I wasn't an enthusiast, super passionate about EVs, but I know the automotive retail space and
Sure.
like this is a problem that I can help solve. And so, when I pair that with what I see happening on the new car side, manufacturers are putting very stringent requirements on their franchises, around technology and people and education. And why wouldn't that be the same for the used car buyer? Why wouldn't the used car buyer demand the exact same experience and education? And so I just leaned in heavy on that. And once I got it in my mind, I could not leave. So immediately, I say flew in only in the sense that I was, foot all the way down on the accelerator,
Yeah.
leaving Philadelphia, heading back to Richmond. I've got to go do this. I've got to go chase this down. So that's where it started. And then, over the course of the next few months, I was out, talking to people, beginning to socialize this idea, ended up meeting my business partner. And so we really got started last year. This is our second full month operational.
Yeah.
We've been soft opened earlier this year. And so we're just going at it now, and it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah, it's cool when you can, go from your experience in automotive retail. So you said 23 years in automotive retail, and the struggles of what they have sales process wise, education wise. And obviously there's a lot of new OEMs that are requiring their franchises to invest in the EV side of it. You look at Ford for what they're doing, $500,000 to even sell the new EVs.
Yep.
And that's not even to stock them. And they're talking about a $1.2 million investment, to even stock them. So it's very clear that new OEMs know where things are going.
That's true. And, I don't think as an industry, we have always highlighted that we're very good at change. And so, when you think about name any franchise dealer, and it's very likely that there's a large cohort of the team that is resistant to any shift to EVs.
Sure.
Stick with what works, right? But what I see and what I hear from, the buyers and sellers that come and visit us at Recharge who have had an experience, unfortunately, a lot of times it's not great. And what they were presented was, likely a salesperson, maybe a sales manager who is only repeating the things that they hear from their management team, the executive team, et cetera. And, as I said on stage earlier, if you don't want to be in the EV space, I think that's fine. I don't think everybody should have to make that commitment today, but you do need to be thoughtful about how you present that to the people who walk into your dealership, because there are a lot of EV curious people. Doesn't mean that they're all EV buyers, but they are curious. They want to know, they want to learn more. And you should be prepared to have intelligent conversations there, even if, ultimately you sell a gas vehicle or a hybrid vehicle.
Yeah.
So,
And even just the experience needs to be consistent overall. Not only the educational side of it, but also we need to be able to deliver on what we're promising. So inside the used EV space, whether you're a buyer, whether you're an automotive retailer, it's very clear that we need to have a consistent customer experience, because it can be so hit or miss. And you know that, 23 years in automotive, you were involved in some of the first EVs that were in the market,
I was with Nissan in 2012, and
Okay.
so I was there for the Leaf.
Yeah.
And or the launch of the Leaf for
Sure.
sure. So, the
90-mile range Leaf.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah.
30-mile range.
Sure.
Now. But the long ago I was taught, if you don't know, that's okay.
Sure.
And be transparent. Hey, I don't know, but I know where to get the answer.
Sure.
And I think that's pretty powerful when you're talking to somebody and you're just transparent enough to let them know, hey, I don't know everything about this EV, but I do know where to get the answer. Let's go.
Yeah, sure.
So
I think we know the answer too, don't we?
yeah. Call John.
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's cool that you're able to see that, you're able to have the experience in automotive retail. What kind of advice would you give to people, whether they're maybe employees at a automotive retailer or they're buyers looking for used EVs? What kind of advice would you give them about the process for looking for a used EV? Where should they start? Where should they end? What should that look like?
Yeah, I think organizations need to make the decision first on where they stand. But if I dropped into a dealership today and started my career over and I was selling cars, I would certainly educate myself on
Sure.
on the products that are out there, and especially some of the features and technology, and be able to have those conversations with people. I certainly wouldn't want somebody who, you think about any training that's done around the trade appraisal process.
Yeah.
It's never leading with like, ugh, we don't want this car. It's always like, let me get you excited about, we're excited about your car. Oh man,
Yeah.
tell me more.
I want your car. I don't know what it is, but I want it.
Absolutely. And so, if somebody's first, experience at your dealership is, you have a Tesla, not great, and that may kill that, that opportunity. So,
Sure.
Embrace it. You don't have to be an EV dealer, but there are EVs that are out there, and just embrace that. So
Yeah. So if there's automotive retailers that are taking vehicles in on trade like that, where do you think they should start with? Do you think it's a self-education standpoint?
yes and no. So
Sure.
I do not pretend that it is not a heavy lift to understand all that there is to know about the EV market. And so, I offer myself as a resource.
Sure.
There are other, you got John Ellis and others who are out here, offering tremendous resources to help dealers understand what they're standing there and looking at. You may not want to be the owner of the car, and you may want to weigh out, and those answers are out there. So pick up the phone and ask. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So-
So I think one of the cool things is, you said it's not EVs that you were passionate about, but I think I've discovered what you are passionate about is the education of people and the education around those products. It's the people. It's not the actual product itself that really fits within what you're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And years from now, obviously you guys are continuing to growing. You had a launch this year. There's going to be a ton of opportunities for you guys to continue to educate not only the market, frontline salespeople, people that are looking for a vehicle, shoppers, things like that. And I think the sky's the limit for you guys.
My teams have always asked me, what are the things that are important to you?
Sure.
If I'm working for you, how do I understand what are the things that are important to you? And I always tell them there's three things, but the number one thing every time is people.
Sure.
And it is your team that works for you. It's the people that, walk in and are potential buyers, sellers, service parts. It's your vendors. It's everybody.
Yeah.
And that matters. And if you can't start there,
Yeah.
the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
If you can't handle the people part, then
no,
nothing else really
yeah,
matters.
100%. Yep.
What would you say is probably one of the most exciting things you've done during this startup process? What is one thing you're super passionate about besides, working with people every day and helping them and guide them?
Oh man, having been on the operations side for so long,
Sure.
solving problems is just something I really lean into.
Yeah.
And when you're starting something brand new, you're doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's
It's all problems, isn't it?
It's 100%. And you're just fire. How do I solve this? Hadn't thought about that. And, but I will say one thing that was especially fun about this
Sure.
versus some of the other builds I've had over time is I literally swung the hammer myself on the property. So, went in, figured out what needed to be done. I called in a great teammate who's worked for me in the past, and he got side by side with me, and we went in there for a couple months and got the property ready and really brought to life the vision for what we want this experience center to be. And that's pretty cool. it's one thing to tell somebody and then they go do it for you, but it's something else to go do it on your own. So that was a lot of fun.
Sure. Now, does this mean you're going to build the next one?
Yeah. I hope that some of the motivation to do it the first time doesn't exist the second time. So
the motivation, the drive to say you did it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So John Foley, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on ASOTU Con Sessions.
Thanks
Obviously, it's been
me.
a great show with you guys so far. You guys have some awesome topics today, and there's a ton of more education we're going to have the next couple of days. So thanks so much.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Of course. Appreciate you.
Great.